Pay our respects to elders, past, present, and future. So, the new year, they say. Well, an arbitrary, an arbitrary calendar jump. In fact, in a calendar, that's not really all that good. We should have 13 months. That's how many months we should have. We work out the math actually work out. I think 28 days at 13 months would work out perfectly. But we don't have that. We should have that, but we don't have it. But the news is not all good, as you can imagine. A lot of things have happened. But one thing, Dave, that I found interesting out of all of this, in South Africa filed a case at the International Court of Justice against Israel, accusing it of genocidal acts, believe it or not. So that happened. Of course, it's no effect. Having said that, though, it goes to show just how the actions of Israel are being viewed right now. So it's a thing, and we are on the slippery slope down to an irreversible state of affairs, I'm afraid. We have not yet found it within ourselves to right this ship. We have, and no one is going to come and help us and do it. So that's not going to happen. Well, what do you mean? We're on our own now? Yeah. Oh, but Dave, how have you been, my friend, in the last couple of days?
Oh, okay, yeah, good. Sure. You know what? They should have said. I think what does their submission say?
Oh, in detail?
No, I think it would have been enough already.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
So that was a joke. It was a joke.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is what it is. But people are very, very selective. So yeah, complain about that one. What about complaining about the other things that are going on?
Yeah, see, that's the thing,
And
right?
silence, crickets.
Oh, because it's first of all, it's not part of the news cycle. That's number one, right? That's the biggest thing, because it just isn't, and it won't ever be. The war in Yemen, right? All the other. I mean, there's stuff going on pretty much everywhere. Okay, so people are being killed all over the place. People are starving to death, and Dave is right. Dave is right. Why not? Why not talk about that? No. And again, it goes back to really what this program is about. This program has only one purpose. That's it. The Shiny Set Out has a very broad purpose. Very, very broad. Like the new cosmology, if you will. We discussed this on Sunday. This is not that. This is just making everybody aware that none of us, very few of us, are fully aware of what's going on. And even on a surface level, you scratch anything that you served up from the official media sources. You scratch it, right? You ask questions. Right? And as Dave has pointed out, what about the other stories? What about the unreported atrocities? What about that? Can't we talk about that? No, we can't, because that's not part of the narrative. And this is really the point. Plato's Cave gives you a narrative. Plato's Cave is not a good place. I want to be very clear.
That's
correct. It's not a good place. You want to get out of Plato's Cave. Right? You get out of it. So, but we're calling this show because Plato's Cave, because we are in it. We're in Plato's Cave. Most of us, not all of us, most of us. So the idea is to get out, and you know what? Don't go back and try to wake the others up. They're just going to beat you to death. It's just what's happened. And the Matrix is just a modern version of Plato's Cave. I mean, the one thing you can say about the Wachowski sisters now, is that they read their philosophy in grade school. right? I would say that's something to do. But it is not a new concept. The Matrix is the world that was pulled over the eyes, is what Morpheus says. It's the world that was pulled over the eyes. That's exactly what this is, right? I mean, think about where you are in your world. I mean, Dave is up north. I'm here in Sydney, right? And we've got very specific points of view, our own, like what I'm talking about is the things that we actually see. Like we see ourselves, which is a tiny fraction of the totality of the human experience. Tiny. And every person has got this tiny little fraction of the totality. And we try to increase that vision of the world by, watching the news and reading newspapers and listening to the radio, whatever else you do, right? But it's still only a tiny fraction. And for the most part, only the stuff that's deemed acceptable for consumption. That's all it is. That's where we are. Took my kids today to the Botanic Gardens because they had been in the house yesterday, and we went to the beach on the weekend. And I like to see them out in the world. And I said to my daughter, "Just lie in the grass, look up in the sky, lie in the grass. Beautiful day today, right? Lie in the grass, look up in the sky." She goes, "Oh, I don't lie on the grass." I go, "What? I've never lied on the grass." She's 10 years old. I said, "What?" "No, I don't sit on the grass and I don't lie squat. It's dirty." I said, "Just lie on the grass." So she did. She did lie on the grass. And if she's not fibbing, then it was the first time in her life that she actually lied down with her back on the grass, looking up in the sky. So, yeah, you gotta stop sometimes.
I used to work with a fellow, Mickey, that he grew up in an apartment in Singapore.
Yeah.
He was only ever in an apartment. You know this story, but our listeners might not have heard this one. He came out here, he lived in an apartment. And he was horrified when I think he met somebody or was sharing. He decided to share a house in, or where was it? Oh, on the Northern Train Line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I move out of the city and I'll go and see what it's like in real Australia. So he was living in the northern suburbs, very highly treed area, in a shared house, a house with others. And that was the first time that he was witness to a huntsman.
Oh, okay.
And he promptly moved back to Singapore.
You're kidding.
No, good guy too. But see, he'd never seen dirt in Singapore. He lived in an apartment, worked in a city.
Wow.
He came here and lived in an apartment and worked in the city.
Wow.
And then when he just went into a regular house in Australia and just said, "You're all mad," because it was not dinner plate size, like a reasonable huntsman, because we get them all the time. You see, they lie under the bark of this is their natural habitat, right? Under the bark, the peeling bark from a gum tree, because the trees go through twice annual departing of their bark, right, in their growth. Only one of them results in a growth ring. And they'll lie in wait for something to land on the on the exposed area, and they'll just dart out, grab it, and dart back in. It's very successful predators. But the complacency of the Australians that he was living with was what turned him off. And it's like, I know that's just a huntsman, don't worry about it. Because where else are they? Oh no, that's pretty much, you'll see one or two in the house occasionally, and they'll be behind a painting or behind some, a poster or something on the wall. Maybe if you don't have anything on the wall, they'll just be on the wall. And they won't jump on you, they won't bite you. You're not, and then he was, at that point, he listened to because he told me the story, and he listened to my faithful words. and that is that we only have 2 descriptions for everything. In one box, we have deadly, and then we don't have a description for the other box. There's only 2 types of creatures, and one set are deadly. And we don't, and for the most part, even in Australia, we delete the name of the thing so that makes it deadly. So I think that's to do with, crocodiles and jellyfish, Mickey, up the north end, right?
Mm.
And our nicknames for the creatures end up on the signs. We don't say deadly crocodiles.
Croc?
We just say crocs. Salties.
Salties. Yeah.
This beach has salties. Salty what? Water? I'm used to that. I'm just going to go for a swim. Oh no, don't go for a swim. That's it's dangerous. How is it dangerous? Oh, that's saltwater crocs. What's a saltwater croc? Are they the shoes? No, saltwater crocodiles. You could put a picture on it. That'd help the tourists, right? Just wandering hopelessly down into the surf. Hey, it's great once you get used to it, right?
Just the legs sticking out of the croc.
That's you would have a toothpick, right, for a crocodile. So look, that was my story of Stephen. I'll tell you his name offline. Tremendous fellow though, love his work, great guy. But the fear that I saw in his eyes. Wow. You know what? In some countries, Mickey, they would. You see the memes on Facebook where someone's house is smouldering on the inside and it's putting plumes of smoke out every window, and that's in some groups that I'm in. That is, the written across the meme is smudging after the in-laws leave. All right, that's when you burn your not incense. What's it called? The herb.
Sage.
Sage. When you're smudging with sage, right? Yeah, but he says that's what I would do if I find a spider in my house. I would just burn it and leave. And
the house?
The whole house. I would just burn the whole house. Because I told him the story of you don't even get Mortein, right? Don't use a fly spray or a bug spray on it, because you can empty, and I call it a whole clip, which is not even the real term, because it would be a magazine if it was a gun. But you can empty a whole clip in like a whole can, and they'll just walk out of the puddle, unfazed by it. Yeah, so. Yeah, don't. But you know what? And it's the same thing that and good morning to you if you're listening in the US and having a nice cup of coffee this morning. But there are some Americans, Mickey, that I've met that are surprised we make it to adulthood.
Well, it is not all that bad.
No, it isn't. But guess what? The Japanese earthquake, Mickey, I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, please.
Because they've had more than 20 earthquakes, all in the same line. In a line of 7.5 was the highest, but they go from 7s and 6s and 5s and 4s, and a tsunami alert was issued, but there wasn't a significant tsunami like we saw all those years ago, luckily. But there's entire buildings. I watched a video today of a culmination of all of the citizen reporting, people's cameras from everywhere, which is some of the best footage. They'll end up using it in the media the next day, is what they do, right? So you get to see it first in these videos, compilation videos from wherever it is. And I like that because then I get to see what they've omitted. There was a whole city block, of suburban block, but around about the size of a city block, that was completely on fire, and it was now under control, but it was all completely burnt. There was a 7-story building, apartment building, had completely fallen over onto its side, and emergency people were, digging through the rubble, I think, at the house that it crushed. But the building was intact. Even the windows were intact. And my first thought was, those building codes are good.
Oh, well, that's one thing they've said about the Japanese, what they've learned over the last, 100 years ago, earthquakes, right? And building properly. But yeah, I mean,
there was
I saw that building.
Yeah,
that just fell over.
Yeah, it just toppled over onto its side.
If
There was
you had
some
been inside,
houses that suffered weight in connection with that. I'll give it to you. So there was a slight landslip down a slope, and 2 houses had rolled down the slope, but were still totally intact.
I know. You could have been inside and been okay. And
Yeah,
eat
just
out
making a
those
cup
houses.
of tea.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
So-
That's so cool.
Apart from that, I think the world was expecting another horrific scenario, and we're just so lucky. The tsunami was about 1.2 meters at its worst. They said there was a warning up to 5, but there wasn't anything at 5 meters around. So very, very pleased to see that there was less loss of life. All of the nuclear power stations were immediately put into safety mode, which is, the rods are lowered in to reduce the reaction, and but they survived that, and that was good. Just a shame, Mackie. It's a shame that two things. The media is so fast to get around that I was watching it the moment it was happening. I was watching, the news, even in a language I couldn't speak, just to get a glimpse of the action happening.
No, I understand. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think the shame is that there isn't the universal translator that is translating it for me as I'm going.
Well,
That's one thing that I really wanted from an AI.
that's not. I mean, I think
It's tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow when that comes out.
I know that my wife and her brother and sister are in Taiwan at the moment. They don't speak the local lingo, which is I think Hokkien or Mandarin. That doesn't matter. The point is, Google Translator actually translated a photo they took of the menu.
Yes. I have
And you go,
Google
what?
Lens. I've got Lens as well, and
Yeah,
I can
and-
do that. Yeah.
So you go, wow, this is pretty good. Now I know what I'm ordering to eat. That's helpful.
That is remarkable, and it changes the text as you're looking at it.
Yeah,
I know.
it's phenomenal. And look, you're right. I think Babelfish is not far away.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. I think Babelfish is really very close. In fact, forget the little fish in your ear. It'll just be. I mean, you have a little what's it called? AirPods, whatever they're called, for earpods.
Yeah, AirPods. Yeah.
have your phone and-
AirPods, I think, are the branded iPhone ones.
Yeah. So all you need is your device, whatever the
Mhm.
device that is. One day it'll be a wrist device. It doesn't really matter. I mean, today we put watches, right? And it'll do everything for you. And you will no longer need phrase books, because you will in real time have the conversation with someone in another language, just like they do in the UN. Someone's job is to interpret
Yeah, that's right.
constantly,
Mhm,
right? And well, that job is gone. That job is gone.
I liked the scene from one of the, I don't know which one it was, James Bond films, where it starts at the UN with people talking to each other, and the person whose translator was then assassinated, only for them to have that high-pitched sound go through their headphone, and it kills them as well.
Yeah.
Just extraordinary. Mackie, I play a game online, and I got suckered into it, and I've been playing for years now. And there's a chat room, and there's so many different languages of participants in there that I can't I have to translate every single line in the chat because I don't know what they're saying. I'm not learning their language. Let's say that. There's so many different languages, and everyone takes the time to do it. And I just went, I'm going to talk to the game creators. And I just asked them, I said, surely in the settings you could have a chat area that says present all languages in chat as, and a pull down with a language box. And they could do that for me. It could automatically present all the languages in the chat as the one that I prefer to read. And that's something they said they're working on.
Look,
right? As a result of me requesting it. No one else requested it. I go, it takes too much effort. I don't have the time. I'm already burning an hour and a half a day on your game. So
we're living in a potentially phenomenal time, right? I mean, look at all the things that could be possible, right? Just with the tech that we have today, just what we have today.
Yeah.
And then look at what it actually is. The mind boggles if you really think about it, just for a second. The mind boggles as to what we do with tech and I don't know, Avenue Q. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, I
it's
love
really
Avenue
funny.
Q.
The internet is for porn. The internet.
I'm not going to say the word.
It's not. You can say the word. It's okay. It is. You know, it's not X-rated word. It's the internet is for porn, and it is. It really is. And you go, what? Yeah, no. It actually is. And
all new technologies are used for that method.
Yeah.
That medium. Yeah.
And other things. But we have this now with all the other tech and AI and translation devices, etc., and the ability to create even art, digitally. This could be, if we had a different economic model, this could be a post-scarcity society where we could really be focusing on just being better human beings. Okay, right?
Look out.
What?
Look out, Mickey, claiming that kind of thing. That's like,
what?
I would say world peace. If only we'd be happy with the damn things we've got.
If only we found within ourselves not to call an equal distribution of wealth communism and socialism.
I know, right?
But rather, hey, let everybody have enough to eat. There's an idea.
Watch out! Don't start your car in the morning.
I know, right? And how about not having to run away from bombs every day? Would that be good? That'd be good.
Do you remember that the African thing? I think it was Princess Diana was leading the anti-landmine thing. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It was so long ago now. But what happened to that? I mean, landmines are being used in Ukraine by Russia, and like vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I thought we'd stop using mines. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a stupid idea, Dave. They're really effective.
Oh, it's gold, isn't it? Isn't it?
If you're going to use mines, start carpet bombing again. Because that was my favourite.
Let's just do that.
And then just stop people complaining about it.
Look, it's really quite something.
See that? Oh. Don't let that wobble your back wheel there, Mackie.
No, I'm good. But it's really it was really quite something to have witnessed all the things we have accomplished. Look, in my lifetime, certainly, we've come massive way. And I'm thinking about my grandparent. My grandfather was born in 1900. I want to say 1902 or one or the other, right? So he'd be 122 or something now. And in his lifetime, right, we went from a cavalry war, right, in 1900. Right?
Yeah.
We got the automobile, we got powered flight, we got space flight, we got
electricity.
Electricity. nuclear power. I mean,
Microwave ovens.
yeah, computers, all this, of course, mobile phones, etc., and all of that. I mean, if potentially, I mean, look, people live to 100 more, so someone could have seen all of that happen in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And before that, not so much. But in these last 100 years, just think about it for a second. All the things we've accomplished, it is staggering. Okay.
Yeah.
It really is. You go, whoa, what now? The who and the where now? Yeah, and you go, wow, this is something.
So,
right.
So I know what we've observed in our own lives. My grandmother herself couldn't understand the microwave. She could not get her head around how it even worked. For her, it was magic. And she was born in the 1890 something or other. Mm-hmm. And she could not understand it. She coped with all the other creations. My father, he just remote controls for devices was the limit to him. He mobile phones, not so much. He got one but never used it. Yeah. So I got him a tablet with the internet, never used it. So it's not on them. It was on me. I should have known better. Because at some point, Mickey, even you and me, there's going to be some technology that you and I just won't deal with. Even though we've been in the highest rate of change generation than anyone in history. Mm-hmm. As far as the electronics platform is concerned. So we had Game & Watch, those little flat panels that were just almost the size of your mobile phone, with 2 buttons. Two buttons, LCD screen. And we're now at a phone that can do everything that you've ever wanted it to do, right? So we've seen all of the evolution, all the compression of all those tools, even though most of them are military, in our phones. Did you know that? Most of them have military origins. I just think that's extraordinary. So I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to rephrase my statement. I wonder if there's going to be something that does the same thing to us, Mackie, where we just go, it's got to be magic. Isn't it? I don't understand it. How does it work? I don't think there is. I don't think there's something you could do that to me or you. Even the plasma drive, that's just 2 bits of metal touching each other that creates a force of plasma as an output. To be honest, I know how it works. I'm still astounded by it.
Oh, of course, because the leaps we have made, right, are significant. Well, sorry. Let's rephrase this. Well beyond significant. The leaps we have made are unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. It is what we've seen is most people don't understand what we have today. Okay, you and I might have a good inkling as to how things work, but for the most part, people have no idea at all how things work.
That's right.
Zero. And it's just magic, right? Well, in fact, a few years ago, they talked about light switches. Forget, since we're going into that, I mean, you could have, you're right, quite right, a photon chip, right? And once you get into light as a medium, then it's a whole different thing. I mean, I think we discussed this where they're trying to make light a solid.
Yeah, what? That's right. Yeah.
What? I mean, that would completely upend our understanding of light. Really, we're talking traditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where you go, wow, this is wild, right? This is crazy. But nonetheless, there it is. Nonetheless, it's
I would like there to be a time when my grandkids, which I don't have yet, come up to me and go, "Granddad, this is how you do it."
I know, right?
Right? You do it this way. This is, and they just go, "What?
Uh,
I don't understand." That's okay, Granddad. I'll do it for you.
yeah, don't worry.
Right?
Just, let me help you.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's going to be an extraordinary time. If only we can get through this lump. I think this hurdle is the biggest hurdle right now. And maybe it is just around the corner. Maybe then we all begin to behave ourselves as that point is just around the corner.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would. I know I send you a lot of stuff, Mackie, because that's what I'm looking at, just so that we're aligned, I suppose, right? I flicked you a whole bunch of stuff, and there's some things I think we'll talk about on Sunday instead. But I'm surprised by a lot of the things that I'm looking at these days, and there was something I saw today I haven't flicked you yet, and this is really interesting. It's just about a guy who hikes to different places in New Mexico, and he found an abandoned, dilapidated, like slight evidence that there was those the cliff people, and they had he photographed and drone footaged all of the hand carvings on the walls, which were in pristine condition. And there was two interesting things. There was one with a large spiral on its own, and then there was a guy holding a stick that had a spiral on the end that didn't make any sense. And the guy looked like, I don't know, what was that robot from the day the Earth stood still?
Oh, Gord?
Gord, yeah.
Gord, yeah.
And it looked like, this robot looked like that. And so there was a person depicted, but I don't know, person from Alien, from something. I mean, they're showing something, right? A lot of the things were what was in the sky, and what were they, it was their news. This is the thing we saw. And it became a talking point. I imagine we would do the same thing if that's all we had. If there was nothing else, that's how we would use our medium. And I just thought, wow, that's really cool. And it was about an hour long to get in there, trek into this place. And it got me thinking about, that's what I started with our media, about that we've now got ability to see all the media of people doing that everywhere on the planet. I just think it's extraordinary. I think despite all of welcome to 2024, despite everything that is occurring around the world, I still think it's a great time to be here.
Look, it's quite a few people that believe we've chosen this time to be here, right? And hey, maybe that's so, right? Maybe we have chosen this to be here, all of us at the same time together, right? And because this is a critical time. We have now reached a point in our existence where the progress that we are seeing is beyond anything we could have imagined. And the speed at which we move forward is also completely unprecedented. In fact, it's going so fast we can no longer keep up with it. We're no longer able. We no longer have the ability to keep up with the knowledge that we are producing. And you really have to ask yourself, where does it end? Where do we how do we actually cope with it? And maybe the only viable option, I know this is going to sound crazy, but maybe the only viable option is AI. Maybe that's the only thing that can help us manage and deal with the information and the knowledge that we have now. maybe there's nothing else at all that can help us with this. And maybe we have to merge. Maybe there has to be singularity. Maybe we have to now see the great merging of the biological and the technical.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do? You can't fight it. Right? You can try to fight it. Good luck to you.
Well, you can go off grid and pretend it doesn't exist, is what I think some people are vowing to do. And that's good. Living the way of the Amish, and just in case we get an EMP or there's something even more hideous that causes our technology to disappear from us, they'll be ahead of us.
Yeah.
I think I'm not suggesting everyone do it, but yeah. Hey, Mackie, I wanted to say, 2024 has already brought a bunch of change, right?
Mm-hmm.
New legislation in Australia said that the disposable vapes, it's now illegal to order new vape with nicotine.
Yes.
And while nicotine vapes will still be there under prescription, you won't be able to buy them without a prescription. And ordering nicotine vapes will come under the scrutiny of the government. So that's important to know in Australia. If you're coming here and you expect it to be the same as anywhere else on the planet, it's now changed entirely. So one guy being, they do the Vox Pop, and this guy goes, I'll probably still be able to buy it anyway. Says one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're on a list, buddy. That's what's going to happen. You'll have someone tailing you to see where you get your stuff from. But in the US, I think I saw a story this morning, Mackie, that said that in some states they'd already agreed to multiple ways of voting for this next election.
Mm-hmm.
And these are all the ones that were under scrutiny last time. Those Zuckerberg boxes for receipt of the voting forms.
Oh, yeah.
You can just vote en masse. Who knows what's going to happen? Use your own time to look up the story, but I think it's just been established that they're allowing all these ways of voting for this upcoming election to get more people to vote. Everybody should vote was the Platos Cave line, the tagline. Everybody should be able to vote.
Yes, everybody should. Everybody. But it doesn't matter if you vote or not, because we already know who's won. So
that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the warehouse full of votes. I mean, the not pre-filled in votes. Just wait for those mailed in votes to come through, and we'll win. We'll show you we win. That's some confidence right there. Yeah.
Oh, look, it's really insanity, right? It's my opinion. That's my opinion. It's and the thing is, we trust these people and these things blindly because we've been conditioned to, right? If there's no paper trail, and I'm not saying there isn't, but if there's no paper trail of how somebody votes, then it doesn't really matter how you vote at all. Mm-hmm. It's completely irrelevant. we can do whatever we like. It always reminds me of the Simpsons cartoon where Homer's trying to vote, and he tries to. I can't remember which election. I think it's Bush.
No, that was based on the testimony of one of the programmers that programmed the voting machine, that you could click in a certain pixel and it would flip the votes around. He said that was his deposition. But it came from that screensaver that we had on our computers, where you try to click no, or one, and it just runs away from you.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what the voting machine was doing to Homer in their episode.
That was hilarious. and whenever then he voted, and then he could vote as many times for the other guy as he wanted, but he couldn't vote for the guy that he wanted, which is what you want. It's gold, right?
Yeah, it's comic gold.
Oh, it is. But yeah, look, does it even matter anymore? Honestly, look, we've accepted billionaires. We've accepted the way of the world. We've accepted the puppet show that is given to us every day, every day, every day, every day for our lives. We don't care that millions of people are starving to death, millions more are in slavery, millions more, hundreds of millions are living below the poverty line in destitution, while we live a fantasy life of consumption and fashion. I mean, is it me? Have I become this old disgruntled guy that points his stick at everybody and shakes furiously at the heavens and goes, "What's going on?"
Has it
happened?
Scary.
Yeah, that's right. Has this? Have I become Seinfeld? And because Seinfeld's last show was described as angry old man shaking fist at the sky, which was pretty much his act. So, but I wonder because no one else seems to care. What do you mean, Mackie? What do you mean? What people? Who's starting? What? People are living under what we would accept as a living standard. Well below. And this is the thing. Think about this for a second, okay? I'm not saying you should smoke. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you should take drugs. I'm not saying that either. But 100 years ago, a little bit more than 100 years ago, you go into any like apothecary or some chemist, whatever it's dispensary. Yeah, I would like to buy some cocaine. I would buy some laudanum. I would like to buy some heroin, some cigarettes, and also a quart of gasoline, please. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sure. And people were allowed to conduct their business the way they saw fit. You traveled with your weapons. You were armed on a train, for example. I mean, airline travel wasn't really a thing back in those days, but as you traveled on ships and trains and stagecoach and whatever, you were armed. And there weren't any mass killings of people. Yes, people killed each other. That happened, sure enough. But nobody went around, shooting up schools and such. It just didn't happen.
There was highway robbery, and that's probably the reason why you were armed.
But look,
and that's
absolutely.
where the term comes from.
And in fact, there still is. Yeah, but there still is. There's still crime today, right? So
yeah.
But people were adults, and they were treated like adults by the law. If you do something wrong, they'll get you. Don't worry about that. But that's on you, right? That's on you because you know what the consequences are. So you do what you do, but just be aware that if you get caught, this is what's going to happen to you. So, but you could do these things because, well, it's your business what you do. You want to smoke? Well, then you smoke. And the thing is, it's not really the tobacco that's killing you, right? I mean, people have been smoking tobacco for thousands of years. Is it the best thing for you? No, it's not. But the thing that's killing you is again great. Cigarettes didn't burn fast enough. They actually went out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have to relight it. And
if you've ever smoked rollies, you'll know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, exactly. Or cigars for that matter.
That's right.
So the cigarette companies said, well, this is not good. People smoke our cigarettes, but they're not smoking enough. You should smoke more. So what they invented was essentially a self-smoking cigarette. So you light a cigarette, and you take a few puffs, you put it in the ashtray, it will smoke itself.
Mm-hmm.
It won't go out. Right? The accelerators in there, there's all kinds of chemicals. It's quite an ingenious little thing. But all the stuff that's in there is going to kill you.
It's got accelerated. That's right.
Yeah. Whereas if you just rolled your own, I mean, my grandfather, he smoked pipe and he rolled his own. So he had actual tobacco that he had, like nothing except pure tobacco, and he lived those 80s, like I said. Didn't have lung cancer, okay? But so he smoked, and he smoked a lot. God, did he smoke? But he smoked tobacco, not this chemical Frankenstein weed that we're smoking when we have cigarettes, right? And it's the great. It's the great because people aren't doing enough of this and they're not doing enough of that.
Did you know that every butt from every cigarette manufacturer is identifiable?
Is that right?
Yeah, by their composition. so the materials they're made from, and I know that asbestosis is a fibre, and I really disliked the fact that I had to smoke through a roll of fibres, because you don't know, is one going to get dislodged? I don't know. So when I smoked rollies, the thing that the butts do is prevents you from getting that nicotine stain on your fingers. I remember my uncle had those really bad nicotine stains, and I did when I was smoking the roll your own. That was what rollies meant. So roll your own cigarettes, and I did think that was the cleanest way of being able to smoke. Back in the day, right? Now I don't know, replacing it with chemicals and making it strawberry flavored or something. What is this, Starbucks?
Oh, it is.
I just want a coffee.
I know,
Americans don't understand that because they're used to it so much now. I've just been watching so many Americans react videos to Australia, and they said, well, they had a lot of migrants come from, Greece and Italy, and their cafe scene is very, very strong on the coffee side, whereas Starbucks was a big failure here because people didn't want, 8 teaspoons or 8, tablespoons of sugar and flavorings and having a sweet coffee. No, we've got bitter as hell coffee, and you better like it.
Yeah.
Right? So the people who are used to Starbucks and come here have a real hard time with our coffee. I love coffee. I just love it. I love what it does. I love its taste. I love how bitter it is. I do love everything about it. I could have happily been an old man wearing black in Greece, sitting on, in a tiny alleyway on some stool all day, doing nothing but drinking coffee. I could do that.
Oh, look, I'm with you. And in fact, when I've got a bad coffee, which happens, I would just throw it away. I can't bring myself.
I can't drink it either. No, I'm with you.
Right in the bin. Off you go. So I've got my places around the city and elsewhere. And in every city that I go to, I do find a coffee place that serves acceptable coffee. More often than not, I find that the proprietors are Australian.
That's right.
It's a really interesting kind of scenario where Australians, specifically from Sydney and Melbourne, have become coffee aficionados. We've got a thriving coffee culture, which is phenomenal, of course. And compared to Italy and France and so forth, I'd say our coffee is right up there with everybody else.
I've had Turkish coffee, Mickey. I'm telling you, you probably experienced that growing up. But oh boy, if the spoon doesn't just stand up on its own, there's something wrong.
Turkish coffee is bringing back from the dead. It will. It's a thing, right? It's.
We went to a Turkish restaurant, and they said, "Oh, do you want a coffee?" And yeah, sure, I'll have a coffee. I swear, that was the biggest mistake of my life, because I could not go to sleep at all for hours. This was like 10:30. It was a school night. I had to work the next day, and I just go, I shouldn't have had that coffee, but I was getting a bit drowsy from all the meat that I'd eaten, right? So I said, I'll have one. Everyone else was doing it, and it was very strong. And I swear, if I tried to find the place, I'd have to go back in time. I bet if I go there now, there's no coffee place. There's not even a Turkish place there. I'm sure it's gone. It's a block of flats or something.
Yeah, that's a shame, eh?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. It is what happens. I like when, Mickey, I know there's only a few minutes, museum station that when they renovated, they discovered on the walls the old advertising, and they left it there. So, under, where the law courts are, right? The one there? Yeah, so if you go there and you have a look, they've got advertising that still advertises the original stores that were there. And I think that's awesome.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
If you've seen the movie American Werewolf in London, where the poor British guy is running through those tiny little passages after he's gotten off the train because the werewolf is going to eat him. Good morning and happy coffee morning to you in America. That's exactly how our stations were designed over the British system. So if you're a museum station trying to leave the station to get out, you'll have a PTSD if you've seen the movie.
Wow.
Because it's identical.
Wow.
That's Dave's revelation because I'm on holidays.
Yeah.
I see far too many movies and things and nostalgia and videos. I can't help myself.
That's good, man. I love the old black and white. It's like my kids are watching. What were they watching? They're watching a movie that's made like 10 years ago. They saw, man, this is like ancient, old school movie. So it's like, okay. Next up, Casablanca.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I watched Battle Beyond the Sun, 1940s English converted Russian sci-fi.
Oh, I love Russian sci-fi.
I'm sure half the scenes were from another movie, but it doesn't matter. It just didn't matter. And they duplicated some scenes over and over again. Just to, I don't know, make it flow or something. But grand how they were wearing, 5-piece suits to get on board a spaceship.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's how you did it. Style.
And people sat together in airline seats. I just love it.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
We thought everything was going to be like a submarine. So all the inside of the spaceships in the period are all designed like a submarine or like aircraft. You had to drill out sections. So it's lots of pipes and flat panels with, consecutive and like holes that get smaller towards the triangle. And all the control panels are just buttons. And people are saying sciencey things, but they're nonsensical descriptions of things. I love it. I just love it. I really love the era.
The future that never was.
That's right. It's almost steampunk flight or space flight. Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't have minded living in the steampunk world. I think it would have been pretty cool.
The spaceships landed on their butt, just like Elon Musk's ones.
Look, all you need is stabilizing gyros, and you can do it, right?
Yeah. And a lot of tech.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
1 minute, Mickey.
Oh, you're kidding?
No.
Oh, well, look, time has once again flown by. Thank you so much for allowing us into your home on this second day of January 2024. And we'll be back with you on Thursday and then on Sunday again. And most importantly, be safe.